Webgains, looking after one of the UK-focused account teams. And I'm joined today by Brad from Outdoor and Cycle Concepts, and he is the digital marketing assistant there. Brad, do you want to maybe give a bit of an overview of your role?
Sure, yeah. So I work at Outdoor and Cycle Concepts. So we comprise of three fascia. So we have Runners Need, Snow and Rock, and Cotswold Outdoor. As part of that, we have an affiliate scheme that runs across multiple geographies. So we have different accounts for different places. So we run across Ireland, the UK, Australia, and the US as well. My role kind of comprises of the strategic side of affiliate. So we manage the different campaigns that we run across our different sales, across our added value and kind of discount deals that we offer, as well as working some with specific affiliates who might be specific to the industries that we're trying to kind of attract customers in. So whether that be outdoor for Cotswold, whether that be skiers and snowboarders for Snow and Rock, or whether that be runners and outdoor enthusiasts in Runners Need. So yeah, it's great to be here. Thank you.
So today we'll be doing a session on practical tips and tricks. So we should be answering some of your questions around the affiliate channel and addressing anything that you might need help on with your affiliate strategy. So Brad, how has the focus sort of changed for Outdoor and Cycle Concepts during COVID, and how do you see it changing after lockdown?
Yeah, so it's interesting. Obviously, once COVID hit, which is over a year ago now, it seems like not that long ago at all. It basically changed the way that we focused what type of affiliates we were sourcing, and how we approached those type of affiliates as well. So from previously being kind of quite omni-channel, so we had lots of affiliates who were able to get store discounts and things along those lines. We then obviously went to quite an online focus. And now with obviously the UK kind of inevitably opening up again and stores reopening in April or soon, it's looking as though we're going to kind of look to swing that back to an omni-channel strategy again. What have you noticed in terms of the common trends for affiliates and things like that? What's been the general scene at Webgains?
So we've seen online sales massively sort of increase over the last year, and there's definitely like a new audience that have never shopped online before. So it's how we can target these kind of new customers that are not used to online sales and are used to kind of shopping in store. And that makes a lot of opportunity for the affiliate channel. So we can kind of target them through new kind of content partners that we can onboard. And really kind of learn how they like to operate as well, which is quite important. So we think footfall is going to be a little bit lower than usual when stores start to open and people aren't fully kind of confident about going shopping in store again. So it's how we can kind of target those people that are going back in store, make it a bit more omni-channel, as you've kind of touched on as well, and make sure that's kind of more seamless. But do you expect your footfall to kind of increase as the stores start to open, or how do you see that changing?
Yeah, I think definitely the case. We've had some internal discussions as well as with our wider group, and they have colleagues elsewhere in Europe and then wider as well in like Australia and things like that. And they've also said similar in regard to with especially Australia, with the way that they've opened up, they've seen a huge kind of shift from it being a lot of online and a lot of kind of traffic going that way through sites. So now it kind of falling more within a footfall category and a lot more people going in store to make their purchases, especially those, like you rightly mentioned, who weren't necessarily used to online retail initially anyway. So yeah, I think that's been a kind of really interesting shift, and I think that's definitely what we're expecting is more footfall. It's interesting you mentioned about the kind of different types of customers as well. How do you expect with a lot of different campaigns that are currently kind of ongoing in the world, whether it be to do with Black Lives Matter or whether it be to do with like International Women's Day, how do you expect that to kind of shift with regard to the different way that companies look to gain more affiliates and specific groups?
Yeah, I think there's always going to be a big rise in content. That's such a key area, and is definitely like on trend for the affiliate channel over the past year. So more and more kind of closed group content partners are opening because of these kind of movements, and it's making for new audiences. So I think a good example of that, it's quite different to Black Lives Matter, but it's like blue light card, which is targeting like NHS and police and all that sort of thing. So they've massively expanded over the past year due to just the COVID situation and everything going on, and kind of rewarding those key workers. So that's become like a massive affiliate opportunity out of the situation. So I think it's always changing, and we need to be really aware of kind of what's going on in the world to know like how we should be targeting these people. But yeah, it's a very good point. And I think at the end of the day, affiliates hold the databases. So they're the ones that we need to kind of work closer with. They're the ones that can target these people effectively, and just to make it as organic as possible.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it specifically with us. We've seen a real demand for and a real kind of benefit of us finding source specific traffic. So, you know, actually finding traffic from closed groups like you mentioned, or from content affiliates people who have already got an active interest. We find that really useful, whether that be even as down to lowest level as like micro influencers, people who really have an interest in the brands that we're selling, or the product, or the message that we're trying to get across, whether that be sustainability, or whether that be just getting yourself outdoors during a lockdown period. We've seen a real kind of balance shift in the way that actually, if we find more source traffic, we can then increase our conversions. And we can actually get customers onto our Explore More discount kind of scheme that we run, that gives members kind of a benefit package, which obviously benefits them, but it's also great for us as well. So yeah, it's definitely good to look at like you mentioned, the targeted and the closed groups as well. For kind of merchants that work in the kind of similar way to us with regard to how we kind of try and target our affiliate activity based on how we're performing, and we try and keep it kind of relevant to how, like, what time of year we're in, whether it's a build up to Christmas, a summer sale, whatever it might be. What's kind of your advice for affiliates who are working, or merchants, should I say, who are working on that kind of short-term basis?
So if we're looking at sort of doing short-term campaigns, so like summer sale, for example, I would say it kind of depends on whether there's like budget available to support, whether they want to work more on like a cost of sale. But it's great to kind of push this with audiences that are going to convert and have a really high conversion rate. So if you know your demographic, it's great to kind of match that to the affiliate channel. So if you know it's kind of over 60s, for example, it's great to match that. But it's also good to get affiliates on board that are going to expand that further. So you might want to kind of get high volume affiliates to kind of reach those audiences, but also look more specifically at content sites, student sites, if that's not something that the brand has kind of targeted before. It's a great way to do it. Obviously, you're only paying on a conversion. So the affiliate channel is a very kind of cost-effective way to target those people as well. But yeah, it's a really great channel to kind of diversify your audience. So pushing those kind of sales and short-term campaigns, great way to do it with those kind of audiences and reward them for it as well.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, I was going to say, it's probably worth noting as well that the different platforms that, like Webgains, or the different kind of ability that Webgains has got within the platform as well, to be able to source new affiliates for us as well. I mean, that's come in massive handy for us, especially whether it be, like we mentioned, as our strategies kind of shifted throughout the year, whether it be online specific affiliates, closed groups, content specific, the kind of way that you guys can find affiliates for us and suggest them automatically through the platform, because you've got such a big database of affiliates already. It kind of gives a massive opportunity as well for merchants as well. So it's worth noting that that's a really valid kind of addition as well.
Definitely. And we have the affiliate discovery tool, which was launched, I think, just under a year ago now. And that means you can kind of connect with these smaller content partners really easily on the platform that maybe you wouldn't have otherwise found, because obviously there are thousands of affiliates that you can connect with. So to kind of find those niche ones where the audiences match is very difficult. And that's kind of why we brought in the discovery tool, which seems to have worked really well.
Great. No, that's good to hear. In terms of kind of going forward and kind of like future changes that are likely to kind of impact affiliate, what's the what's your thoughts on kind of like, for example, like Google are changing how their third-party cookie tracking works. So it makes it obviously harder for third parties to obviously leave cookies on browsers. How do you kind of expect that to be combated by affiliate platforms like yourselves?
So we've actually been running on first-party cookies since 2018. So we kind of expected these trends to come into play in 2020 and 2021. And with GDPR legislation coming in at the same time, we kind of prepared for that in advance and just made sure we were kind of fully covered. So any partners on the Webgains platform should see no real changes to their performance, if at all, extremely minimal. But yeah, we kind of knew that these changes would be coming into browsers, so we wanted to kind of make sure the tracking was super kind of robust for when that happens. But I guess in terms of other kind of affiliate trends coming up this year, and how things are going to change after lockdown and everything like that, how do you kind of see that coming into play from your side?
So yes, no, I think it's a really good question. It's one that we've kind of given a bit of thought internally. Obviously, we mentioned about the change in omni-channel and how that's likely to impact. Obviously, we're expecting a lot more footfall over the summer period when hopefully the COVID restrictions are slightly lifted and people can feel a little bit more comfortable going out and making their purchases. As well as that, obviously, we have the busy kind of like summer season with camping and things like that too. But specifically in terms of affiliate, we're hoping that we can kind of work with some more content specific affiliates. So we can work with affiliates who, yeah, like we've mentioned before, who already kind of have an interest in the products that we're selling, whether that be walking, hiking, whatever it might be. Unlikely it'll be snowboarding or skiing this year. We're also hoping to work with some closed group affiliates. So affiliates who have got kind of, they can offer exclusive discounts and deals to their members, and it really gives them a feeling of like inclusivity and makes them feel part of something, which is really valuable. And then as well as that, there's an ongoing kind of personalization project that we're working on our site as well that will hopefully translate into affiliate, where we can kind of offer them deals and discounts dependent on what they've already purchased previously. And what they can hopefully kind of look to purchase in the future. So yeah, that's our plans going forward.
Brilliant. And yeah, I think personalization is going to be huge. I mean, it's already quite a big trend within affiliate marketing, but I think it's just going to continue to kind of snowball throughout the year.
Yeah. What have you seen? What have you seen kind of other in terms of activity on the platform for personalization wise? What have you seen people look to do?
Yeah, so I think it's been kind of individual to affiliates. So as I kind of mentioned briefly before, they have vast sort of databases that they can access and increasingly make offers more personalized. So you see the likes of like Revlifter, for example, who offer personalized voucher codes instead of kind of generic ones that might affect margins. Say if you did like a blanket 10% off, they can kind of assess the basket value of that customer and see what is most likely going to make that customer convert. So there's definitely more and more affiliates coming out like that are kind of looking to protect clients' margins as well as target the right customer.
Yeah.
And I think obviously with the rise of content that's very personal, like influencer as well, they have very kind of like friendly audiences that relate to them and they trust their kind of instinct and are willing to buy off the back of that. So we've seen definitely like influencers rise and kind of the demand for influencer and content across the platform has definitely risen.
Yeah, I think it's worth noting as well that I know when I first took over the affiliate kind of program at ONCC, we had a discussion about influencers because, to be honest, for people who are kind of relatively new into the affiliate kind of platform, that's probably the first thing most people think of if they see their Instagram feeds, Twitter, wherever it might be. They think of influencers. It's probably worth kind of going into a little bit of depth on like what the different kind of types of affiliates can do in terms of influencers as well, because I noticed it myself that there's a huge gulf in kind of different levels that they each work at, whether that be initial upfront payments right down to like gifting products.
Definitely.
It's interesting to see. And what's your thoughts on like for a new affiliate who they might choose to work with?
Yeah, I mean, with influencers specifically, obviously outside the channel, there's teams that kind of work with influencers individually. I guess the benefit of working with influencers through the affiliate channel is that you can work with agencies such as like Wildfire Influencer, who offer kind of massive platforms of vetted influencers as well, so you can check like their following is legitimate, because sometimes they might like buy followers. So you can check everything like that is fine. They kind of run the campaign for you. They come up with the ideas. So you can do it sort of fully managed, where there's a bit more of a fee involved, or you can have just access to the platform where you can contact the influencers yourself, but it makes it so much easier than kind of finding them individually. You can filter by things like location, activity. So if you wanted to do like sport specific, for example, for Cotswold, then you can do that and just kind of reach out to mass influencers that are relevant to your brand quite easily. And again, most of them are just on a CPA, so it's super kind of easy, makes it a lot less like time consuming than trying to find like individual influencers for your brand. So yeah, it's definitely one that's growing alongside content, as you mentioned.
I think influencers is a really interesting platform to look at, and it also, as I kind of mentioned, it's a popular one for new customers who maybe haven't got any experience in affiliate. And on that topic, obviously, a lot of people who are new to affiliate aren't necessarily going to want to allocate enormous budgets to it. How do you kind of find is the best way to tailor affiliate activity based on the amount of budget that a customer might have?
Yeah, it's a good question. And I think a lot of kind of SMEs don't have huge budgets available, and that's absolutely fine. I think affiliates is one of the most cost-effective channels, because we can work on like a cost of sale. So essentially, you're only paying for converted sales. So you're not kind of spending the budget on anything like CPC. You can choose to do tenancy if you want to kind of promote further, but that is probably an option down the line. Once the program's been running for like 6 months or so, and you want to start look to expand. So to get like loads of new publishers and opportunities on board is the easiest way to expand, with no sort of budget to put into it without getting it back. So recruitment is a great way to do that. Getting loads of new kind of affiliates that are specific to your demographic. So I think the easiest sort of misconception that we see with new brands is like, this is my demographic and these are the affiliates that fit that demographic and that's it. But you can easily kind of expand that and look at new potential audiences that aren't with that, like shopping regularly with that brand at the moment, that you can look to target. For example, students or sort of silver surfers. If that's not something that the brand has targeted before, it's a great way to do it.
Yeah.
And yeah, doing it on a cost of sale means that you're kind of getting back what you're putting in. So there's no risk to it. And you can fully kind of control that as well. So you can cap it. You can set a percentage for your CPA. If you want to kind of, well, we would always say you should keep a bit of room in there to maneuver. So if you wanted to increase your CPA to get a little bit more exposure from the affiliate, that's always a good thing to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's probably the best way to do it without putting like a chunk in and kind of having all that risk. Testing and learning is also a great way to do it. So just seeing what works for the brand. Different affiliates work different for each kind of program, and it's hard to know really before you get those affiliates live. And there's always going to be the high volume drivers which work across the board, but when it gets a little bit more specific, it's a great thing to kind of just test and learn and see what works, and then do more of that.
Yeah, definitely. No, I couldn't agree more. I think it's unique in the sense that it's one of the only digital channels where you don't need to guarantee a certain amount of budget available for it, because you're only kind of actually spending what you actually make in a sense. So
definitely,
it's got a huge amount of flexibility, and like you rightly say, it's something that we've kind of bared in mind as we've kind of gone forward, especially as we've looked to increase activity based on the certain weekends, like I mentioned, Black Friday or Christmas, where we really want to kind of drive loads of traffic to the site and loads of conversions. You can obviously just fiddle around with your CPA and make sure that it kind of suits to then kind of really engage those affiliates who you want to work with more specifically. And also obviously Webgains allows you to really kind of track which affiliates perform better than others, and you can, you know, subsequently you can look to work with those more specifically if you want to as well, which is
exactly. So I think as we kind of come out of COVID this year, like how are you planning from your side in terms of the marketing efforts, and how you're going to target those new audiences?
Yeah, I think, to be honest, it's like I mentioned with regard to personalization. That's one of the biggest things for us is trying to make our site, make our affiliate activity, make our emails as targeted as possible to our customers, so that they aren't receiving kind of notifications, or they aren't receiving offers that are based on other people's wants and needs. It's making them feel as though it's a special relationship between us and them. And I think that's common on lots of different platforms now. And I think affiliate, like you rightly mentioned, is going to be a huge trend this year with regard to how we actually engage our customers and how we make them feel like they have a direct line to us, even, you know, obviously during COVID, where they haven't had that experience of being able to talk to someone. Even small things like online, we do online booking appointments, so you can have a video chat with a store representative, and they can basically talk you through the products that are available and things like that. But with regard to affiliate, yeah, it will be a case of offers that are tailored to the specific customer, and potentially rewards based on purchases as well. That'll be another thing we'll look to engage with.
Perfect. Yeah, as you said, there's going to be so much crossover between kind of stores and online, and yeah, I think affiliates can definitely support that as well. So driving people in store and doing sort of local campaigns in different areas, and yeah, it'll be interesting to see that evolve more, I think. But yeah, I think that kind of wraps it up. It's a good note to end on. So thanks very much for joining, Brad.
No worries.
And yeah, there's lots more kind of sessions to come.